In town to host the Freo Royale Gala and for a reprise of the Doug Anthony All-Stars is funny man Paul McDermott. Hello.
Funny man. I love it. I love it. It's gold. Funny man.
It's very original, isn't it?
Oh, no, I think it comes from one of the All-Star shows back in the... You weren't even born then, I think.
No,
but,
I was, but I was like 2 years old.
Oh, right. Well, yeah. Probably can't remember the wonder and the glory of DAAS Capital, but certainly Funny Man was an oft-repeated line in that particular show.
Paul, you're a man of...
A declamatory sort of self-deprecating attack on myself. It came about because, drunkards at parties would be going, funny man, you're a funny man. That sort of,
Oh, well, you got me in stitches. That's good.
Fantastic.
Nice way to start the interview this morning. You're a man of many talents, a painter, visual artist, musician, a man of hilarity, filmmaker, TV presenter, a radio presenter, but what do you consider yourself, really?
An artist.
An artist.
Artist, yeah.
Creative.
Bottom line, an artist. I just make stuff. That's all I do. Didn't want to make an impact on the world that was too savage. Didn't want to go mining and digging up earth. Yeah. Just wanted to do whatever was in my head, spit it out in whatever form it took. So that's all I've been doing, really.
And now...
There's no money in it, young people, let me tell you that.
Well, yeah, you
better to get it on the gravy train with the mining. Dig up the earth and sell it to someone else. That's the way to do it if you want money.
And then buy it back at ridiculous amounts of money.
Isn't it stupid? What a hideous cycle we find ourselves on.
Indeed we do. Well, you're here for the Freo Royale Gala. There's lots of fun and laughs to be had in that, isn't there?
Well, we hope so. At the moment, we haven't done it yet, but certainly we're going to kick it off tonight. And we have some brilliant people on tonight with myself. I mean, you get me thrown in there. I'm just sort of emceeing. God knows what I'm going to be talking about. Probably NRL stars humping dogs. I think that's sort of captured my attention. Poor Maltese Terrier. A Maltese Terrier. Ah, what an imbecile. Just when you thought the whole Todd Carney thing was going to slip away, everyone would forget. What a bunch of idiots these fellas were. Fella on Australia Day, who hasn't done it? Grabbed a Maltese Terrier and just humped it. On Australia, it's Australian. People are getting upset about it. I can't believe it. Ridiculous.
Mr.
Pissed
Days...
himself. Weed on the couch.
Used to be about lamb chops, now it's about something different, isn't it?
Lamb chops and vegans getting upset about that ad as well. That was crazy, wasn't it?
Poor Lillian.
Saying it was anti-vegan to have lamb chops. I mean, we rode on the sheep's back. That's the famous adage about Australia. We rode on the sheep's back, and then on Australia Day, we sacrifice it on the barbecue to fatten our bellies. Poor bloody sheep. Anyway, better to be a sheep in Australia than a Maltese Terrier.
Yeah, apparently so.
At this point in time.
Life could be worse.
Well, I was thinking it could just be down to the type of dog. If it was I don't know.
Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Well, exactly. If the I don't know if the people in Malta have responded in any way, shape, or form to the humiliation of their sacred animal.
I do believe we've got their supreme leader on the other line.
we should talk to him there. But I was thinking if it was if it was an old British bulldog, it could have been a pertinent statement about colonialism, couldn't it? I mean, you could have seen it in that light. If it was a corgi, it could have been an anti-monarchist sort of Republican sort of. It could have been a lot of things, but Maltese Terrier sort of stuck there.
Yeah.
But the dog was walking around with nothing on. Tease being part of its title. Swishing its little ass. What's an NRL player meant to do? Got to grab it and hump it. Is this okay for your listeners? It's a Christian. Is this Christian radio? I can't remember.
No.
Hillsong?
No,
Are you
not.
Hillsong? Okay.
Australian Christian Lobby FM. No, we are RTR FM, the sound alternative.
RTR, yeah.
And have a strong
Satan's
passion.
music! Satan's music! We love the Dark Lord.
Certainly do. Here at RTR FM. It's why we have the WA Music Industry Awards every year, isn't it?
We were talking about the Freo Royale, which is happening tonight.
That's where we sort of went.
Another couple of days. But they've got on tonight, if you're not doing anything, you should be doing something because, Perth and Freo are going off.
And it's Fringe World and it's the
Thursday
Fringe
night.
World.
Yeah, it's the best time to be in Perth. That's why we're here. But we've got a lot of brilliant acts on. Did I mention the wonderful Brendan Burns? He was in the other day, wasn't he?
Certainly was.
Chatting, dropping the F-bomb.
Chatting, hanging out.
So there's a guy, Pat Bircher, Canadian fella, brilliant. 5 stars. Crystal Spheres from South Africa, another brilliant comedian. And to finish off tonight, the Sugar Blue Burlesque, who are hot, apparently.
Absolutely
hot
stunning.
And sexy. And the brilliant, the wonderful Chris Franklin, an old mate. So, if you're not doing anything, get along to the Frio Royale. Plenty of seats still available.
I'd like to talk about a plethora of different things. I'm aware we've only got 20 minutes left. You're a man, as I said, of many talents, but you didn't actually start out as a comedian, a TV presenter, or in that field, really. You started at ANU.
No.
And, no?
No.
Oh, I got that wrong, didn't I?
I went to the School of Art, yeah.
Canberra School of Art.
Canberra School of Art. It's now been absorbed into the Australian National University, but at the time...
Great.
It was an autonomous organisation, which meant it had its own independence. Sadly, now it's been sort of through the process of osmosis, and because of budget cuts, it's just been swallowed by the gargantuan Australian National University, which means that I don't think it's as liberal a place as it perhaps used to be. It was pretty. It was a pretty wild place when I was there. But now it seems the courses are far more structured to finding people a job, to getting a job once you leave. And I don't know about you, but art school...
you don't go to art school to get a job?
You don't go to art school to get a job. You go to art school to just experience life. And if you're lucky, that will happen in spades. But now it seems the courses are more designed to how to live, on baked beans for 5 years because you're not making any money and no one cares about your vision.
Survival training for the apocalypse.
Yep, that's it.
You had the intention, or well, you are now, but of pursuing a visual art career, if I'm right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know what a visual art career really is, but certainly to continue making stuff. But then, of course, the All Stars came along in my last year at art school, and I don't know if there are any painters or creatives out there, but essentially you can work in a vacuum on your own ideas, like animators trapped in a little room just making stuff, and then you put it on a wall or you take it out and show people, and they can just be quite dismissive of it. Whereas with performance and the performance arts, you can grab people by the throat and say puerile, insane, flippant things that just come off the top of your head, and people will love you and throw money at you. So
yeah,
and also you get such a...
Well, we're seeing that in the political campaign in the US,
Oh, we're talking Trumpy now, are we?
Yeah.
Walk down the street, shoot someone, and I'll get away with it. Yeah, he's a god.
If only we had a leader like that.
People used to say when Reagan was campaigning to become the president of the world that there was no way in the world it would ever happen. All the political pundits of the day, all the papers, basically said the same thing. It's ridiculous. He's an actor, even though he's been the governor of California. He's not going to be able to, pull this one off. And of course, he strode in there. And now people refer to Reaganomics as one of the most extraordinary periods of American, political growth and economic growth. And he brought down the Iron Curtain, all this sort of rubbish. So he's, I wouldn't rule Trump out.
Well, look, I mean, many of my friends were wandering around amazed when Tony Abbott became Prime Minister. And
I'm still amazed.
Yes,
I'm still amazed that he's going back to contest his seat.
Yeah,
but of course,
I don't think we'll think of him in the same light as we did Reagan, but...
No, oh man, let it go. Get out.
But anyway, we could be
so Reagan got in. I would not be surprised.
Sorry,
I would not be surprised if Trump actually makes a run for it, and here we're relying on the absolute idiocy, and I know this is going to sound a bit sort of xenophobic and racist, of the American people, but they've done it before, and I fear they may do it again.
Bringing this interview back to where I was before.
Frio Royale. That's a corker. If you haven't got your tickets, get your tickets now. www.frioroyale.com.
You're a little bit older than me. You're a silver fox now.
No, parts of me are pretty young, though, Paul.
Oh, I bet. Goes with the name of Paul, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You're perhaps people a bit older than me would know you for your role in the Doug Anthony All Stars. It's been 30 years now
since we broke up, or
well,
almost
since it was happening. Really,
I don't know, what year was that? 90-something, 92, I think was the last sort of performances we did. We started off in 80-something. God, the drugs were good in the time. Anyway, so the brain's gone, but yeah, certainly, it's been a long road, that one, and recently got back together with Mr. Ferguson, the great Tim Ferguson.
That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, about a year and a half ago. In a wheelchair. The ABC was going to release an old show we did called DAAS Capital, and they said if with the release, could we get on stage again and basically do a promotion? So we did that at the Melbourne Town Hall, and there was myself and Tim and Richard Feidler, the guitarist, at the time, and our good friend Paul Livingston, who of course was integral to that show, and it was just there was such an outpouring of love, which we'd never really experienced before from the audience, that we thought we'd do a few more shows. And Tim was basically the herald of that. He really wanted to perform and get back on the road and do new material. And it's hard to say no to a fella in a wheelchair.
Oh, that's cruel. You're listening to RTRFM 92.1. It's 11:45. My guest this morning is Paul McDermott. You can probably recognise that from his voice.
G'day, people.
Really. I read in an article that your toughest gig in the All Stars was at a mining settlement, and
Telfer.
Yeah, I'd just like to hear you talk about this for a minute. Share this with our listeners.
I don't know if it was the toughest gig. It was one of the more extraordinarily bizarre gigs.
Yeah,
and we flew 3 hours over the Great Sandy to get to Telfer, which is a mining town, about 1,000 people in that mining town, about I think 7% female occupation. Otherwise it's a pretty male, so it's like the NRL. If there were dogs around there or dingoes, I'd be scared. And when we arrived there, we got told we were in this big shed, which is their performance shed. Anyone that came in there, that's where they'd perform. And it sat about 1,000 people, and we were up there trying to get the sound right. We couldn't get the sound right, and so we said to the sound guy, look, what's going on with this tin shed in the middle of the desert? Why can't we get the sound right in here? And he went, the fella that normally does the sound, he's gone to Paris, yeah. First holiday for 25 years, mate.
Yeah, right.
All right, so who does the sound? They go, I'm just doing it. And we're going, it's not working. It's echoing, and you can't hear anything. He's going, I'm doing my best. So we think we're in this place without a sound guy. Anyway, when everyone comes in that night, and I don't know if you've been to mining towns, but they really relish the idea that someone's come to visit them. Someone's come all that way to perform for them. And they were very excited. And we could see through this one-way mirror at the back of the stage, we could see people coming in, and they were giant tree trunks of human beings, and they'd all have a Bundaberg rum in one hand and a bag of ice in the other, and they'd sit down in their shorts, and they would put the Bundy rum and the ice bag on their balls to keep them cool. Like the Bundy rum and the balls cool. Yeah. And that's how they all sat there with their legs apart. And this was a room of 1,000 tree stump fellas. And for the first 4 songs, they just went crazy wild with excitement at seeing us, and you couldn't hear us, so it didn't really matter that the sound was terrible. But after about 4 or 5 songs, I think they started to click on to the fact that they couldn't understand a word we were saying. It was just like because the sound was so bad. And then they started getting sort of a bit antsy and angry. In the end, we made it into a karaoke night. So we got people up on stage from the various crews, because they're all in different mining crews, and we'd get them up and we'd sing songs with them. And this seemed to at least placate them in the short term. What we didn't know was that there was another mining crew that had an altercation with one of the other mining crews, and they used this night as a way of getting back at them. So as these other mining crews were leaving drunk, this group of fellas attacked some of the people leaving and just beat the shit out of them.
Great.
And this started a fight all over Telfer that we were unaware of that was happening at night. And I don't know if you know about this about mining towns, but because there's no cops there, you can't throw a punch. Anyone throws a punch, anyone gets punched, you're just dismissed. You're off you're off the reservation. So we had a pretty weird night. We got back to the little place we were staying at.
Lock the door.
Lock the door. Well, yeah, lock the door anyway. But it wasn't until 6 o'clock we were meant to be leaving. At about 6 o'clock, our plane was coming in to take us out of there, a little, twin-engine Cessna. And we get there, the guy comes in, and he, the organiser of the event, and he's just got these grazes all over his knuckles, and, his head's like purple in places.
Yeah, right.
And he goes, how'd you sleep, fellas? And we went, yeah, all right, we slept all right. And he went, yeah, no one bothered you, no one come around to your place? And we went, we're not aware of it. And he said, all right. Just we had a bit of a brawl here last night, and the plane's not here. We had to take it. we're going to fly to Marble Bar, get the cops from there, and going to bring the cops back. And it's like, what are you talking about? Plane's not there. He said, we've got these, just had a bit of trouble, so we're going to get the cops with your plane. So we've got about 4 hours to kill till the plane gets back. I'm like, all right. He said, there's one other thing. No one's caught those crews yet. They're still beating the shit out of people. And so then we were stuck in Telfer, driving around trying to avoid people that might leap out of the shadows at us to try and throttle us. So it was a pretty awesome, pretty awesome event.
Character building.
Yeah. And then all the people that had organised it for us and were friends of ours, they got the sack because of it. It was a pretty savage night. Yeah, frightening.
Well, you've certainly seen and been a big part of different forms of media and music and all sorts of things. Good News Week, Room 101, the big gig amongst many millions of other different things. You're a busy person. You slip onto our TV screens often enough. Are you planning on working in TV anytime soon?
Oh, no, television's weird. I don't know if you find this, but television's weird at the moment.
I've never worked in television.
No, I don't mean working in it, but just the content is gone. I mean, we've got these multi-channels. When is that Channel 7 coming soon station actually going to come?
Yeah, well,
how long has that been up there, coming soon?
Why does the ABC have like 5 stations now?
Yeah. Why does Channel 10, 11 and 1 play Grant Denyer, wall-to-wall Grant Denyer in whatever show that is at 6 o'clock or whatever? Like, what is the point of having multi-channels if you're just showing the same program on 3 channels?
Yeah.
Is that a point? There's no point. And now all the boundaries between the shows are dissolving as well. So Attenborough has shows. They used to be on the ABC. That's where you'd see Attenborough talking about insects or talking about waves or dolphins or mammals or plants, the life of plants. But now it'll be on 9 or 7 or something. They've all all started just becoming an homogenous amalgam of shit. So yeah, hard to. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be heading back into that world. So yeah, it's
You should start your own TV station.
100 TV stations and nothing worth watching.
Yeah,
so,
beautiful.
So yeah, don't know.
Well, your career has seen you travel everywhere in Australia and overseas too. You were born in Adelaide. Are you still there?
No. Left Adelaide at the age of 3.
Oh, okay, great. Well,
travelled by caravan to Canberra. That's
right.
Yeah.
Do you live in Canberra now?
No.
No. Where are you now?
I'm in Sydney now. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Good beaches in Sydney.
Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah.
The sickness after a shower. After we have a downpouring of rain, especially around Bondi, the water gets so churned up and there's so much filth in it that if you go in after one of the monsoonal sort of rains we've had in Sydney lately, you instantly fall sick for the next few days because it's just so much crap in the water.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, beautiful beaches here, if you don't mind being taken by a shark occasionally. Though that's happening everywhere now,
Well,
all up and down the eastern coast as well. There,
just fish the waters too much.
I don't think is it the climate? Is it the overfishing?
I think it might be the overfishing. They're starving.
It's not just
Who knows?
the coming of the the rapture. Maybe people are just being taken by sharks before
the apocalypse of sharks.
It's coming.
Well, it got so bad that the state government decided to go and kill them all for a while there.
I couldn't actually believe that. It's
not
like it's not like the sharks thinking.
Perhaps it was another Tony Abbott.
This will teach him a lesson.
Yeah. These days, you're more focused on painting. Is that right?
I'm really not focused on anything.
No.
Hopefully,
okay.
no.
Well, you're doing some painting.
I do a little bit of painting. Yeah, I do painting. I do working on other bits and pieces, little film clips and short films and other things that take a little bit of time. But as well as that, I do this. All-star shenanigans and hosting stuff.
Stuff.
I almost said shit. I can't believe I said that. Oh my gosh! Like the Frio Royale tonight. Yeah. So just focusing, unfocused, focusing. I don't think it's really focusing, but just doing other bits and pieces. So yeah.
That's the way to spend your life, isn't it? Really.
Got a little exhibition coming up in Melbourne with some art school friends, which will be fun. People that I really love their work, so it'll be good to be doing that mid-year, and then back to Edinburgh, I think, with the All-Stars for the first time in about 100 years, since 92,
great.
So what's that?
24 years. Yeah. You mentioned like animations and that sort of stuff a moment ago, and it's very funny you said that because I went and I looked at your website earlier today, and I found one on your website, the Intelligent Design series.
Oh yeah,
and the God's Glue animation is hilarious. It had me in stitches.
Thank you.
Tell us about a little bit of the work that you do apart from, well, in visual arts and that sort of side project of yours.
Well, I did a little film a few years ago called the Scree. It did quite well, sort of globally, and then I followed that up with another short film called The Girl Who Swallowed Bees, and that did quite well as well, and got the some award here. Some awards in
got
in
too
America,
many of them on my shelves.
Germany, yeah. So I loved doing that. I loved the process of it. The Intelligent Design series was a bit of stab at the time at the Christian lobbyists who were talking about intelligent design, and we had the opportunity to do it on a show called the Sideshow, which I was sort of hosting and performing in, and a great show on the ABC. Sad to lose that one. I thought that was a real groundbreaking show. And each week, myself and a fellow I work with, Tony Mellov, who's an animator, we would get together and we'd have a week to make a minute and a half or 3 minutes of animation. So we'd just sit down there and be working on those things while I was meant to be learning songs and then hosting. But all incredibly enjoyable. And so that series came out of that. It was a real sort of melting pot and a lot of not pressure, but a lot of energy to try and pump out those things every week. And I was doing the voiceovers for them and drawing the characters and writing the the storylines and so on and putting them together with Tony. So it took a while, and then after that you'd have to leave that little dark room and then go on there and do the na-na, do the performer thing, which are they're diametrically opposed worlds in many ways, because the world that I inhabit most of the time is a very sort of insular, quiet, reflective world, whereas the performances that I do are quite loud and brash and offensive and puerile, and so there's a real clash, almost not quite schizophrenia, but
turning a switch on, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah, when it's good, it's turning a switch on. Otherwise, it just muddies in between. But but the thing I found attractive about performance was that you got this immediate sort of kick off it, like a wonderful adrenaline run, but there's no substance to it whatsoever. So with the other creative things of either writing or animations or any longer forms, it's far more enjoyable sort of process, but not as instantly, I think, recognisable. You don't get that immediate kick off it. So.
We've got about 2 minutes, but...
Free or Royale. If you're not doing anything tonight, come to the Free or... also, the All-Stars are back in town. We're doing Fremantle. A couple of shows. www.freoroyale.com.
Fringeworld.com.au will link you.
No, apparently, the website has been... Oh, no, here it is, Fringeworld, yeah. www.fringeworld.com.au.
There we go. It's good.
Forget the Free or Royale shit that I was going on about. www.fringeworld. So DAAS are back in town. Got some new stuff about ISIS.
Oh, great.
Yeah, making lots of jokes about ISIS.
That's really nice, and, well...
It's fun to train with the ISIS. It's fun to train with the... real... And I reckon there'll be some dog humping going on.
Why not?
I think, get out the fur.
There are a lot of dog parks down there, and even dog beaches. You can hump on the beach, you can hump on the...
Hump anywhere.
Hump anywhere.
Yeah.
I love it. Paul McDermott, thanks so much for coming in and spending some time with us here.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, Paul. Nice to speak to you.
This has been an RTRFM podcast. RTRFM is an independent community radio station that relies on the public for financial support. You can subscribe online at rtrfm.com.au/subscribe.